Hi. So I don't know why, but I feel like I needed to capture my capture this moment, capture my reaction to reading this. So years ago, maybe like 3 years ago. What day is this? 3 years ago? I'm not sure, but I had the opportunity to be featured in one of these books, and then ever since then I never really promoted it, only because something didn't feel right, like as if I didn't speak my truth or I hid something. So but at the same time, Sparkle by Choice was also created through making this chapter, through becoming a published author and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm gonna read my chapter in this book, and then we'll see how I feel about it. I was just gonna write a blog post on it, or have it move me to write a new, like a phase 2 on it. Either phase 2 or like just to clear up anything that's misinterpreted or how I express something. Anyway, let's give it a go. My chapter is called Grow Into Your Radiance. There I was, 8 months pregnant, seated uncomfortably at the edge of the bed while I received terrible, yet not so surprising news. Even though I was not alone in the room, I felt more alone and neglected than ever. The father of my unborn child has not only lost his passion with me, but he had been involved with another girl throughout my pregnancy. Bam! A tornado had bulldozed and flattened my world, leaving a huge pile of truth. Behind a huge pile of truth. I have to admit, I saw the signs. Nothing really felt right, but still, I was in denial for so long. I gave myself an excuse to take on the ignorance is bliss facade, because there was life growing inside of me. That meant I could get away with anything that didn't cause stress on me or the baby. Although a greater sense of me knew that it might turn out this way, I thought, how am I going to make it through this? I didn't want this to happen so badly that I'd rather not give any thought to it at all. I'm a very positive girl by nature. Back in grade school, I was the animated, peppy girl who approached all the loners and newbies and kindly forced them to sit with my friends and I. What my young heart wanted was for everyone to connect and feel a sense of community and the loving support that comes with it. I didn't want anyone to feel alone. I'm also a huge dream believer. I constantly took every opportunity to root for everyone's goals and dreams. The thing is, I found that I've hardly ever showed up to be a cheerleader for my own life. I still feel that today sometimes. Less more now after starting the blog. I needed someone to believe in me. For so long, I continued to let others tell me what I should be doing with my life. I was obedient to the world and found myself regretfully agreeing to everyone's opinions that I automatically lost my own voice. I started to believe that my thoughts and feelings were not worthy or valid. The consequence when you seek for approval from everyone. I ended up stranded in this busy world called reality. One night, I was driving a rental car down the highway to search for some comfort in a friend because earlier that day I had been having false contractions and I was afraid to be alone in an apartment in uptown Dallas. The song Au Revoir by One Republic was blaring so loud in this container of metal that the sound of the pouring rain was just a faint whisper. My eyes saw the drops of water running across the car just as I felt the heated tears streaming down my face. Even though I was creating a miracle inside my body, I was emotionally lifeless inside. On that particular drive, I started to really question everything that was going on in my life. What What am I going to do next to fix this? How is it possible for me to get over a fresh breakup with this man I'm having a child with and manage to give birth to my daughter in a happy, loving environment within 30 days? It seemed unbearable. Could I forgive that quickly? I felt as lost and worthless as a child that's trying to fall asleep listening to her parents' abusive quarrel in the other room, thinking that she was the only one who ruined their relationship and caused misery for the two perfect people who loved each other. But this time, instead of breaking up my parents, I'm separating my child's father's relationship with this woman who makes him feel whole. I was to blame for all of this heartache. 2 weeks later, I was alone in an apartment in Uptown with my beautiful daughter in my arms. Only a few days old, sitting at the bottom of the staircase under a pile of cushions from the brown suede couches in the living room, preparing for a tornado to whip through this big, terrifying storm. As I was praying for us to be safe, I asked myself, what am I doing? How did I let myself get in this situation? What am I doing here in this house where I feel totally uncomfortable living, where I feel unloved and unwanted, treated like an annoying dog that no one loves? Then, as I let those thoughts pass like clouds drift in the sky, I realized while looking at this precious face of pure innocence that not only does she deserve a better living environment, we both deserved to be happy. I told my daughter, I'm sorry I wasn't myself before. Giving birth to you was giving me another chance to be reborn. I will come out of this better, stronger, and more capable of giving every part of who I am to provide you with everything that you need. This is a promise, Sophia. And that was the moment I decided to change all the stories of doubt and misery that I repeatedly told myself. I absolutely needed to turn my system off autopilot so it could stop the feeling of being numb inside. I can't see. I wanted to truly live and to live unapologetically, to find myself again and to be completely true to my authentic self so that I could give the love that Sophia deserved. It was a major shift in perspective. It was time for me to let go of this life and time for me to grow into my radiance. In order to do that, I had to do 3 very important things. Know my worth, follow my inner light, and choose my path, sparkling by choice. This path of radiance cannot begin without taking its first step, to know your worth. I had to get reacquainted with my sense of significance in this world, and to do that I had to sit down and really answer some big questions. For example, who am I? Have you ever asked yourself and really thought that through? Whatever the answers that you may first come up with, it might seem true that you'd fall under many different categories such as daughter, sister, mother, student, doctor, all those other labels that society offered to us to separate ourselves from one another. However, the true answer is exactly the same for all of us. We are light. And according to Les Brown's documentary about the physics of crystals, light itself doesn't go anywhere. The only place light is at its source. Light reflects all the way. Light goes nowhere from its source. It reflects at a particular speed. If you were to stand in front of it, you shoot it off like a projector screen. Darkness comes in at the same speed, but light doesn't go anywhere. This light is your eternal essence. This light, if permitted, shines within every cell of your body and within every thought in your mind. It is pure and it is also truth. Your light is how you make an impact and touch everyone's lives. So when you take in negative perspectives and opinions from others too personally, we start to change ourselves for approval. That is when we lose those things. I gotta say that again. So when we take in negative perspectives and opinions from others too personally, and we start to change ourselves for approval, that is when we let those things stand in front of our projector and dim our light. When I was taking in every suggestion, for me, very often heard as commands, that my parents, family, friends, and old boyfriends gave me because they knew what's best for me, little did I know all those commands were the reasons why I lost my voice. That's why I cannot connect with my worth. Good news is I found my light by remembering the last moment I was truly alive and fearless. I lit up when someone needed my assistance, to stand up for them when they lost the courage to do it so themselves. Then I realized that it had nothing to do with my status at that time in my life. Worth has nothing to do with the material things you possess in life, like the amount of money you have, your career, your diploma, your car, or even your image. Worth is who you are without those things. As Jim Carrey would say, the effect that you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. And I cannot agree more with that statement. So when the last time you felt... So, when was the last time you felt so alive and unafraid? Remember that moment. That is when you let your light sparkle. Find that inner sparkle. Now that we have revisited our worth, the second step to growing into our own radiance is to follow your light and trust it. I'm talking about tuning in and eliminating distraction from the virtual demands of excessive scrolling through our news feeds. Just be with yourself. And wonderful, magical things like magnificent ideas will start to unfold right before you. Following your light means to start to differentiate between ego and truth. Ego is all about control and fear. Ego lacks faith and trust. Truth resonates in love and light. Truth dissolves separateness and brings all of us closer together. Truth sets us free and out of the control of the ego. Dusting off the negative, non-serving debris that is hanging out in your space is also a requirement to follow your light and build that trust in yourself. So let's choose to be clear. Let's choose to clear the blame. Let go. Choose to forgive and set boundaries to keep these non-serving things at bay. T.D. Jakes said it best when he stated, if you hold on to your history, you can lose sight of your destiny. So, I did the work to forgive myself for choosing to be ignorant and not fully communicating my feelings to Sophia's dad. I forgave myself for listening to my ego, by following the crowd, and for not taking charge of my own life all these years. I let that all go so that I had enough room to envision a new life for my beloved daughter and I. The last step to growing into your radiance is to sparkle your light by choice. Choose to take responsibility. Have an opinion. Stop seeking approval from others about your dreams and your rightful decisions. Conjure up the courage to make your dreams happen. Have a crystal clear vision of how you want to live your life. Decide that you are not going to be idle and think that you have to suffer in life by any decision or indecision that you've made. This realization finally smacked me in the head when I was in that stairwell staring at the face of my daughter sleeping in my arms through that terrible storm. Man, that's a long sentence. You get to choose your path every day and every minute. No one else has that right but you. Own it. If you get to know your worth, follow your light, and sparkle by choice like I've done, you will have so much peace in your heart and so much positivity and happiness radiating from within you that when you find yourself in the darkest places, even that can't dim your light. Take a look at the beautiful blue endless sky. It's truly yours to have and to admire. If you find your light and follow it by making choices that make you shine as bright as the sun, everyone can enjoy and benefit your radiating light. We all live in a mini universe of our own, and guess what? We are all stars like the sun in our world. That goes to show that we all have the same amount of chances and opportunities just as our neighbors, our brothers and sisters. We all have a choice to live our lives just how we want it. Like what Maya Angelou quoted about being human. I am a human being. Nothing human can be alien to me. If a human being dares to be bigger than the condition to which he or she is born, that means so can you. And so can you try to stretch yourself. Stretch yourself. You can do what Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Bruce Lee, Martin Luther King Jr. did. You can do all of that because you're a human too. You have the same number of hours as Beyonce does every day. You can do anything, anything at all. I made my own declaration. I choose to be happy. I choose to believe in myself and be empowered at all times. I choose to create a loving environment for my daughter and I. That means to live in peace with everyone that's in my life, including my child's father. Now Sophia can grow up with two loving parents that are both happy and respect each other. I choose to radiate love. I choose light. Know your worth. Follow your light. Choose. Grow into your radiance. What are you waiting for? Man, that was pretty good. I don't know why I felt so ashamed. I guess when it came out, I started promoting it and I started showing people, and like, I don't know, I guess what got me is like when Sophia's dad read it and he was down or crying. Like I felt that like I did something wrong, like I didn't say anything that was right or true. And I guess by taking on the story that I did wrong to him, or which I did, like I said so in here, it's just, I took responsibility for it, being ignorant and not really fully communicating myself, which is what happened. Like I felt like there's something else that I missed, but like now reading this, I'm like, yeah, it was just a story that like it might have been the thing that made him reading this, and might have been the thing that made our relationship that we have right now be really close. Like, and I feel like he understands me now, and it's really cool. Like reading this again years later, and letting the relationship that we have together form into like this beautiful co-parenting space environment, and knowing that we have each other's back, it's really, really cool, actually. Really awesome. And like, but every time, you know, before reading this again today, if I talk to my clients, or if I just share a little bit about myself, and I share what happened, or like they ask me, oh, your husband is like that, I was like, well, I was never married. I didn't have that lesson taught me communication, and having to be, you know, fully present with another person, and like, you know, not taking on being ignorant or being numb, and like all of that. Anyway, so if I tell them that, like there was some part of me that would just like stop, and like as if there's like guilt or something. But now, after reading this and like getting in touch with what I've learned and the lesson behind all of it, it's actually very empowering, and I'm super glad I read this, and I'm super glad something told me to record it. But yeah, it's so good. This is like perfect timing. Anyway, thanks for letting me read this to you, and for letting me just feel what I had to feel, say what I had to say about this topic. Like I said before I started reading this, like I was gonna have a blog post or like share that story again in a new way. But I, you know, honestly, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all, because the only thing I might change is just to like emphasize all the steps to growing into your radiance. I wouldn't even say grow into your radiance anymore, actually, because I've changed it into like your greatest revealing awaits. Like, just because this year it's evolving more into like a being a star, like you're lighting up, which is the same thing that I said here, but like I believe everybody has a right to shine and to reveal themselves. Like when I was reading all these, like the stories of me, you know, like hiding and like not being myself and hiding behind like this numbness and not feeling things because I'd rather be obedient than be myself, like that struck me like, ow. And like, this is why I have my blog. This is why I show up the way that I do, because it's, everybody has that right to like express themselves freely and fully, no matter where they're at. They can be angry, sad, mad, whatever, you know. It's just, that's a part of a human experience. Anyway, I'm rambling now. So, thank you again for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!